Welcome to Your Anime Senpais. I'm Richard.
And I'm John.
And John, we're back at it again. Episode 5 of Eizouken?
Episode 5.
What are we doing? We're on a roll.
Wow, it's like we've done 2 episodes in 2023.
What? In any case, just really briefly, last episode, our crew was trying to work on an animation for their presentation to the student council to try and get approval for funding. It was kind of tough at first because they want to do all these different things, but by hand, right? And just all put a story and all these other different things. But eventually, they realized that they don't only have so much time, only so much money, only so much resources. So through a lot of hardships, through a lot of shortcuts, they managed to get their presentation together. They showed it to the student council. Everybody was blown away by it. And so, they got approved for funding. And so now that they got the money, and I guess the time as well now, they can start putting that to use to creating things that they can really be truly satisfied with, right? So
like adding a story.
Right, adding a story, yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure their imaginations will once again get carried away, and they may have the money, but will they have the time?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let's get started. Why?
You found a robot?
Are you sure that's a robot?
That's it, going on in the school. What? Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
The robot's gone. It's hiding.
Now we have a mystery.
It's like a horror movie. The robot's going to jump out and attack them. Iron Giant left side. Uh-oh. Is there a robot club in here? Oh! Wow. Yeah, that was a decent size.
Oh!
It was like
it's gonna hit her right in the head. Yeah.
No.
Oh, you left your comrade behind.
She's down.
Robot crime? Okay.
No, not at all.
It's a Gundam. Or that.
Wow, that is a lot of details. Speculating on the whole body based on the footprint.
I don't even think I had that much imagination when I was a kid.
There it is.
It's a Gundam.
Kind of looks like the old Gen 1 Transformers.
Yeah.
It's so blocky.
Oh, look who it is.
Suppression is just good enough.
And now she's on their side.
She's been brainwashed. Oh no. The remaining 33% has to be for themselves. And I have amnesia.
Oh. Right.
Her expression. Just like annoyed. So there is a robot.
What? 100 years? Oh.
In the late 1800s?
What? Really?
Before anyone knew what a robot was. Why are they overanalyzing everything? They do make good points though about like, why does it open in the front? Why not the back?
Mm.
What's down here? Predate the school? Oh,
That makes sense.
it's got a nice echo.
Wouldn't they have that kind of like a gate or something to prevent people from going in there?
Maybe.
Oh, there we go. I was like, surely they got to have something there.
Yeah, we're already stuck. What? You just have oil with you?
She's like, well, you know what?
She's like, yeah. There's no such thing as a door that won't open.
Okay.
Kicking open doors, yes.
True. What is this place, really? This looks like it used to be a... Hmm. Nope. Hmm. A crab monster.
Arm like a pistol. At times like this.
Oh.
Take a sock off. Okay. Okay.
Right. That's actually really impressive. Just open up the door.
She's gonna kick it open.
Hi.
Blackmail. Our client doesn't seem to trust us.
Right.
They're really good at negotiating.
Yeah. So let's have a friendly chat.
Wow. When did that table get so big?
Has his opinion changed? Oh, I guess not.
Too much action.
Real robots. Oh, right. Like,
Those robots.
no, yeah. No.
Humanoid. The
Gundams,
real life
essentially.
humanoids.
That's what. Just say Gundam. Surely they'll. No. Oh, that is true.
Yes.
That is true. Yeah. I understand, dude. It's fine. Wipe your nose. Kind of like me, actually, to be honest with you.
Calm response, of course.
Whoops.
Hadouken.
Well, at least they found harmony, so. Oh, now you're agreeing with them.
A blue collar robot. Wonder if that's the robot they show here at the ending.
Right, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, okay. All right, Richard, we got Gundams.
We do.
And they have drills, they have
chainsaws,
drill bits. I mean,
scissors, something like that too. They got
Yeah.
just everything there.
I mean, you don't know what you're going to need whenever you fight a crab tool.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what do you think of the episode?
I'm actually going to give this 2 thumbs up. It really kind of, even though I haven't really been as big of a Gundam fan in the last couple of years as I was like 10 years ago.
You kind of felt that whenever they were like, yeah, they've kind of been cutting down on Gundam anime,
well,
big robot anime lately.
There was that, but really just, I mean, my love for Gundam has kind of dwindled over the years, mostly, well, I'm not going to get into it, but mostly because of reasons, but
yeah.
Not so much the lack of mecha anime, but just other things. But it did kind of when they were talking about it, it really struck a chord with me, and I was just like, yeah, that's true. And not even just Gundam, but just really just mecha anime in general. So, how did you feel about this episode?
Yeah,
because I'm going to go off on a tangent if I keep talking about that right before we get to you. So,
2 thumbs.
2 thumbs up. Okay.
Definitely really enjoyed it. Had a good time. I like where we're going with this series. Like I said in the last episode, I didn't really care. Kind of the start was a little slower pace for me than what I would have liked, but I like where we're at. I like where we're going. I kind of like how the characters are established now, the different personalities, what they're doing.
Right.
It makes me appreciate it a little bit more. So I like all these different points of views now, as far as like how they're examining how to make the film and how to realistically versus using fantasy logic make and animate and all these other things. So I'm really enjoying it. So let's just kind of talk about the episode then, just overall, because it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So what was maybe something you liked and things like that about the episode, just kind of going over it.
So there wasn't anything that I disliked about this episode. But there was quite a few things that I liked, which is one of the reasons why I gave it 2 thumbs up.
Exactly.
Not just even, I already touched on the mecha anime aspect of it, but I'm going to say a little bit more and also kind of go off on a tangent. But the whole, just them talking about the mecha anime and like, one thing about this series so far that I've noticed is it's not just like, they're talking about like maybe creating, like a rom-com anime. It's almost like they're touching on different fandoms almost, and kind of just giving a general sense of why these fandoms are, or at least were, popular. And so I appreciate that. And like I said, like with mecha anime, like when they were talking about it, just like, oh yeah, that is one of the reasons why I like that anime. Just because it would be so cool to be able to get into a Gundam or a Gurren Lagann or something and just like be able to pilot those and do stuff like that. So,
but it was also funny where they were like, "Oh, are there really monsters out there as big as buildings?"
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Well, if they're not big enough, well, why don't we just ram a truck into them?
It's true. And the one guy was just like, "But it's so cool! It's so cool if we use a robot." And even his other club members were just like, "Yeah, I mean, it would be better if even if they didn't make." Even if the tanks weren't strong enough, they would just build stronger tanks.
Yeah.
But then the one guy was just like, but that's not cool enough. I want to be able to pilot. And actually, that kind of leads me into my second point, too, is that I like the camaraderie that they had towards the end. There was even if the other two were, if Asakusa and Mizuzaki weren't really mecha fans, they were like, I understand those feelings. I also want to, like... what did she say? She cries in the bathtub at how big the galaxy was or something, and then Mizuzaki, what'd she say? She was like,
I do a Hadouken before I go to bed every night because everybody wants to do a Hadouken. I mean,
or Kamehameha.
You just wish it would happen.
Or turn Super Saiyan, or Plus Ultra, or gosh, so many other different things that people.
It would just be nice if that happened.
Or even outside of anime, like it'd be cool to be able to have your own Starship Enterprise or Millennium Falcon or whatever, just having those feelings of wanting something that doesn't exist, but it'd be really cool if it did exist, and it'd be really even more cooler if you actually had it in your possession or whatever. Excalibur.
Exactly.
And the last thing I want to touch on, too, is Sayaka. I know you said she was your favorite, but actually she's really starting to grow on me a lot because it's like, especially towards the end where they were showing off the robot, and she's just like, I mean, that's cool, but are you sure you guys are going to be able to animate this? And are you sure you're going to be able to animate this in time for, the deadline, whatever. What was the club, or not?
Yeah, because they're trying to do a film...
For their festival or whatever it was. No.
I think it was almost for their presentation maybe or something. I don't remember exactly what it was.
It was a presentation for their club, but it's for this festival that's coming up, whatever it's called. Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't remember either what exactly it was.
But it's just kind of nice how down to earth she is, and she's like, even when they were exploring, she was just like, are you sure you're just not goofing off?
Yes.
Because it kind of seems like that way to me. But it was also interesting how Asakusa, like how so prepared she was for just about anything.
having all the different tools,
right,
things like that. Yeah.
But my only question is, so they're supposed to be doing this animation for the robot club, but their robot that they started off with at the beginning of the episode looks absolutely nothing like the robot that they had envisioned at the end of the episode. So what I'm kind of confused about, and maybe I missed it during the episode, but what I'm kind of confused about is the robot club going to build a new robot to match what's going to be in the animation, or is this just going to be something that they animate, and then when it finally comes out or whatever, and when they show the final product, like people outside these, just the audience in general are going to be like, okay, that's cool. That's a really cool robot that's being animated, but this robot over here looks nothing like this. So what are we doing here?
I mean, you don't have to have your, mascot be in your film, I suppose. But, I guess. But how, I guess since the 1800s, they've been... making robots, they could actually use it for inspiration for their next robot for their club.
Yeah, see what I was thinking, maybe what they could do, and maybe they'll address this in the next episode, is they could actually start their presentation, the animation, with the first robot that they showed on the scroll, I guess, and just kind of show like
the progression,
and then it shows the final robot that we saw, and then it gets into the action and doing all that stuff too. So
okay.
I actually kind of wonder how much time they have to be able to animate all that too. Because once again, these aren't professional animators. They're kids, and they're in school, and so they have to worry about their schoolwork, plus their social life, plus the family life, plus this. So I wonder how they're going to pull that off. I mean, it's an anime, so they probably won't show all of that, but
yeah.
So, anyways, I've rambled on too long. How about you?
No, that was great. I mean, mine were definitely not as, I guess, pinpointed as that. I mean, I overall just enjoyed the episode. You know, I enjoyed the opening scene where, man, I don't really know how to say her name. Asakusa, however they say it. I enjoyed her moment at the beginning where she's like, you know, thinking something big is going on.
Well,
you know, where'd that robot go?
A conspiracy.
In the school. Oh no, my partner got taken out. Wait, why is Kanamori up there helping build this robot? Is she turning against it? Is she brainwashed? You know, what you know, has my whole Eizouken group turned against me?
All 66% of them?
66% of my group is down. Or wait, am I the one that has amnesia?
Yeah, her imagination goes like I never had that kind of. At least I'm pretty sure I never had that level of imagination that she does. Like just all over the place.
Yeah, definitely just. And you know, honestly, I think that might have been somewhat what turned me off at the beginning of this series was how they couldn't focus. I was sitting there like, kind of more like, come on guys, what are we doing with this anime right now? Can we at least make progression? And they were like, hey, what if we added a propeller around our waist? We fly around. I'm like, come on. What are we doing right now?
What are we doing?
You know, stuff like that. But I mean, overall, I mean, it was a really fun, enjoyable episode. The things about the robotics group, them scouting out the basement or whatever it was down in the I can't even really say sewers. It was just, I guess, where the pipes and stuff go under the school. That was even kind of interesting how they went through and showed their thought process of how an actual real world landscape affected their, you know, like, oh, well, we could have the monster do this and the robot do that and this fall and this crumble and break. And I've even heard the same thing from like different people when talking about like Steven Spielberg. He'll go to a location and all of a sudden the things that he had in his mind, like, oh, I would like for this to happen in a movie. Whenever he gets to a location and he sees what he has to work with, he's like, oh no, we're not doing any of that. We're doing this now. Where I see I have this to play with, and wouldn't that be so cool if they did this with this tree or whatever that's here, you know? And that definitely does way better to work with what you have in reality than to just take a blank, like they have a blank canvas, a blank piece of paper, and just like try to come up with it. So that's kind of interesting how they're kind of going around and playing with that idea and. Just showing that thought process. The blackmail, whenever they walk in on the robotics group, and that actually had to be the best part for me almost was they're sitting there like, okay, how do we, you know, save the, you know, integrity of our robotics group from this Eizouken club, and they want to change everything, and we need to set up guidelines, and, you know, of course the whole club's just like, what? When did you have time to come up with all this? What is going on right now? They're not trying to do all this. What's going on? But of course, they interrupt right then, and they're like,
cool. It's like
blackmail material.
Here we go.
Got that.
Thanks.
So yeah, that was excellent timing. The perspective whenever they made that little itty bitty table look like a huge, like 20-foot long table with like. Oh, hey, you way over there. Sorry about that. You want some tea?
The almost like the gap between the two clubs, metaphorical gap, I guess.
Yeah, and how by the end of it, it did show the perspective change of like this huge gap, and then all of a sudden they're way right in front of each other, basically, like shaking hands, like, oh, we're in harmony. This, that, and the other that we, you know, it kind of pointed out already, and. They found the middle ground between them where, you know, they were able to put, the robotics group was able to put their differences aside and be like, okay, you know, maybe we'll work with you, kind of see where we need to go with this. And the Eizouken group was like, all right, you know, we see where your passion is. We want to, feed off of that and make this the best thing ever. And of course, Kanamori's over there like, guys, what's it gonna take to animate this?
Right. Well, to be fair though, she was also the one just a little bit before that where she was like, we gotta figure out some kind of compromise between the two groups because she was just talking with Eizouken, that group, and she was just like, the robotics group, they got their thing that they want to do, and we just need to kind of take what they're doing and maybe build off it and maybe change a few things here and there, but really kind of keep what they're doing, and it makes sense too. Yeah. Like, if you're if you're the one that's telling, like almost like, say for example, imagine you're a book writer and someone comes up to you and is like, hey, we want to turn this into a movie, and I'm sure the movie producers are like, okay, well, we can't put everything in this book into the movie, but we do want to hit the critical points and then maybe hit some points that help build our characters or do world building or things like that. So there's a lot of things that they have to consider when doing this, or at least most of the time you would think that they would consider that. Not every time do they successfully do this. Dragon Ball Evolution. Yeah.
Why did I pull that one out?
Last Airbender.
Oh.
Yeah. But it is interesting though that, and again, this is one of the reasons why I'm really, really identifying with Sayaka, and I'm sure you are as well, is that she's really taking a lot of different things into consideration, how much time there is, what each person wants to do, and how they want to do it, and all this thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes she does have to put her foot down and be like, okay, look, we've only got this much time.
Yeah.
And we've only got this much resources. We got to just do it this way, and we got to do it now. We got to do it within 48. We got to do 8 hours of work within 24 hours. So let's go.
Yeah, I mean, her idea of basically having them present alternative ideas and be like, okay, we'll do that one instead. Having them present other ideas is almost like a form of, I think she was saying, of like, making them do the changes that they want to do, like almost like suggesting it, but then having them say it.
Yeah.
Like, what if it was a little different? They're like, yeah, like this, and they're like,
right.
Yeah, that would be a really great idea that you came up with. Right. So, just her way of not really blackmailing, but just kind of like leading, manipulating. Yes, that's probably even a better word. So, yeah. But,
it actually kind of leads me to think, like, because I would think that since we identify with her, are we more just practical people? Whereas I'm just really curious to see, like, is there, kind of leads me to my question towards the end, which I'll explain in a minute, but like, for the audience that watches this series, like, I wonder if people just identify with, say, maybe not so much with Sayaka, but more so with Asakusa, or maybe they identify more with Mizusaki or whoever. Is there someone that they identify more with?
Who do you identify with?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, does that reveal something about themselves? Like I said with Sayaka.
Definitely.
If you identify with Sayaka, do you identify with being more practical, being able to be more focused and doing what you need to do to get the tasks done, or are you more like Asakusa, where it's like, you just want to just imagine everything and try to work out the details and just do the world building. Yeah. And I think Mizusaki, she's more like, I think she's more kind of in the middle ground, isn't she?
She kind of is. She's more taking in the scenery and how things are going to flow and different things like that. Because she doesn't get as too much into the details like Asakusa does, where Asakusa's like, why would it be like that? Why would it come out of here? Why is this water here?
Right.
What's making that happen? There's no reason that pond should be there. She's overanalyzing and trying to bring this depth of reality into a fantasy world where she's like, there's no reason for that to happen like that. And she's all the time, even though it's imaginary to her and she's in this big fantasy world, she always has to ground it in like some kind of, like the whole, like she looked at it and was like, well, why would you have the door open in the front?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, she was down for the big robot, but she was like, why would you make it in such a dumb way?
Right.
Like, I could have thought of a better way than that it works and it's practical in her fantasy world where there are no actual real thing, robots or Gundams in reality. But of course, if they were to be real, we wouldn't do it like that.
Right.
But then she's like, well, but for the, sake of like a show or movie, you could do the front because then you could walk out and you could talk to other pilots and
right.
Well, yeah, but what about and then she just works out different details. But Mizuzaki, she's more thinking about. She was the one I believe that was going around looking like maybe have it go up here and then this break and then over here comes out of here and this that and the other and what if we had it do this action or whatnot. And She was very much more just about the whole fantasy of it and just the impracticality was like, yes, that sounds great. And, just whatever sounded good and fun, things like that. So it's definitely the different layers of it because one, even though they're in fantasy, they want to have it grounded with a little bit of realism. And one's just like, hey, this feels like it would be good and fun. And then, then you have the other extreme where it's just like, how are we going to do that?
Yeah, in this amount of time.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
it's just an interesting thought experiment, though. Just like these three characters, like if you identify with one, what does that say about you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even down in the comments below, just let us know who you identify with. What do you like about this show? What's your favorite thing?
Yeah,
I would definitely be interested to know that.
So,
but I think that's all I really have for this episode. So,
all right. Well, in that case, guys, what did you think of this episode? And as was just said, who do you identify with of the three main characters? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this reaction, definitely hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so that you're always notified whenever we put out new content. And definitely do us a huge, massive favor. Go down, check out our Patreon over there. You'll find full and uncut episodes. And we'll go back to 2020 and try to get the first 3 episodes full and uncut up there as well. Because I think those are floating around on a hard drive somewhere. So with that being said, we'll see you in the next episode.